There's something incredibly exciting about finding a classic car for sale that you've always wanted. You start imagining what it could look like when it's finished, and you picture yourself driving it. And before you know it, you've already bought it in your head. But there's a problem. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do when you find your dream classic car is walk away. After spending 6 years restoring my GTO, I've learned that the hardest part isn't figuring out how to restore a classic car. It's figuring out whether you should restore that particular car in the first place. So, how do you know when it's time to walk away? Well, first I'd ask myself, does the car make financial sense? Let's say you find a classic car for $10,000. Sounds pretty good, right? But here's the first potential mistake. You look at the $10,000 purchase price and you think you're buying a $10,000 car, but you're not. You're buying the beginning of a potentially very expensive project. And it's not just the dollar investment. There's also a time investment as well that you definitely need to consider. Okay, you're probably thinking, no shit. You're just stating the obvious here. But bear with me a minute so that I can kind of explain where I'm going with this. And I'm going to use my own experience restoring my 65 GTO. This car took me 6 years and about 3,100 hours to restore. And so as a point of reference, I'm going to show you a quick little, just a few second clip of what the car looked like before the restoration began. And maybe that will, kind of give direction as to where I'm going with this. It didn't look too bad, did it? Well, looks can be deceiving because with these old cars, there's always trouble lurking underneath the surface. That's why the purchase price of the car may be the least important decision you make, because a $10,000 car can become a $30,000 car, and then a $40,000 car, and then a $50,000 car before you ever get to enjoy it. So my point is, before you buy, you need to ask yourself, what is this restoration realistically going to cost me? Not what you hope it will cost, not what the guy selling it tells you, not what you budgeted in your head. What is it realistically going to cost? And that's where you need to be brutally honest with yourself, because you're going to find things you didn't know were wrong. Parts are going to cost more than you expected. You're going to break things and you're going to make mistakes. And some of the work you're certain will take a weekend, will take a month, or maybe even a year. So here's the financial question I think you really need to answer. Is the financial commitment appropriate for the finished car? And notice that I didn't say, will I make money? Because that's not necessarily the point. If you love the car and you're willing to spend more restoring it than you ever get back out of it, that's your decision. I've done exactly that. But you need to know what you're signing up for, because there's a huge difference between saying, I know this isn't a good financial investment, but I love this car, and saying, I didn't realize I was going to spend twice what the car would ever be worth. Those are two very different decisions. However, money isn't the only reason to walk away. In fact, I think there's something even more important than just the money aspect. Do you really love the car? And I mean really love it. Not, that's pretty cool, or not, I've always wanted a classic, and definitely not, I think I could make some money on it. I mean, this is my point. Will you still want this particular car after you've owned it for 3 years and the restoration still isn't finished? Because that's when things can get ugly. The excitement of buying the car has worn off months ago, and the initial progress slows down. Perhaps you discover a problem, and then another, and then another. You end up ordering a part that doesn't fit, and something you thought you had finished has to come apart again. You spend money you weren't planning to spend, and suddenly that 6-month project has become a 3-year project, or a 4-year project, or like my GTO, a 6-year project. That's when emotional attachment becomes incredibly important. Because if you don't really love the car, what's going to keep you going? I wondered about this myself during the restoration of my GTO. There were times when the car fought me. In fact, there were a lot of times when the car fought me. There were setbacks, there were mistakes that I made, and there was work that I had to redo. But I had an emotional connection to this particular car, and that mattered. And that's why I'm going to make another statement that might be controversial. I would rather see someone spend too much money restoring a car they absolutely love than spend less money restoring a car they aren't thrilled to own. Because money isn't the only currency in a restoration. You're spending your time, your weekends, your patience, your energy, and eventually your sanity. And if you don't love the car, those things can become very expensive. But there's another question you need to seriously answer. Can you actually finish the car? Not, can I imagine myself finishing the car? But can you actually finish it? Because those are two very different things. Before you buy a project, you need to honestly look at several things. Your skills, the tools that you have, your workspace, budget, obviously, and available time. Because classic car restoration doesn't require just one skill, it requires many. You might be an excellent mechanic, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can do body work. And you may be a great body man, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're prepared to rebuild an engine. As a do-it-yourselfer, this makes time a serious consideration. Like I mentioned, my GTO took me 6 years to complete, and I did virtually all the work myself. I estimate that it took me more than 3,100 hours. So when somebody tells me they're going to completely restore a project car in 6 months, I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm definitely going to ask a few questions like, what are you doing yourself? And what are you outsourcing? How much time do you actually have? And what happens when life gets in the way? Because restoration projects don't exist in a vacuum. You've got a job, you have a family that wants to take vacations occasionally, and you have other responsibilities that may interfere or take time away from doing the restoration work. And sometimes you just don't feel like working on the car. So 6 months becomes a year becomes 3, and suddenly you're looking at a project that has been sitting in your garage for years collecting dust. So before you buy the car, you need to ask yourself, am I buying a project I can actually finish? You also need to acknowledge and factor in additional time for setbacks that will come. This is the part nobody really understands until they've experienced it. Things will go wrong, not might go wrong, will. You'll discover something you didn't know was wrong at the worst possible moment. I learned that lesson over and over with my GTO. Case in point, the engine. Beautiful little 389. What should have been a straightforward engine rebuild turned into discovering I had a bad cam and a cracked block. Now, bad cam, that's not so much of an issue. That's a part replacement that maybe you were going to replace anyways. But the cracked block, it's not something you really know about. At least I didn't know in my case until the disassembly of the engine had been hot tanked. So anyways, my point is that's the nature of these projects. And that's why it's important that before you buy a project car, you have considered and are expecting these things to happen. And here's the uncomfortable question. How do you react when your dream project suddenly becomes a nightmare? because that's when some restorations die. Not because the car can't be restored, but because the owner has simply had enough. And that's why I think you need to ask yourself something before you buy. How am I going to handle the setbacks? If your answer is, well, I'll deal with them when they happen. Well, that's fine, but understand that they will happen. The question isn't whether something will go wrong. The question is whether you're prepared to keep going when it does. But let's say you've already bought the car. Here's where things get really interesting. What if you're like me and you didn't ask these questions before you bought the car? What if you bought the car, started taking it apart, and then discovered something that changed everything? Maybe the rust is far worse than you thought. Maybe the frame needs work that you can't do. Maybe the restoration is simply beyond your skills, budget, or time. And now you're standing in your garage with a car you've already spent money on, and you realize, I may not be able to do this. What do you do? This is where I think a lot of people make another mistake. They think, I've already spent all this money. I have to finish it. No, you don't. And this may be the most controversial thing I say in this entire video. You are allowed to walk away after you've bought the car. The money you've already spent is gone. It's a sunk cost. The question isn't, how much have I already spent? The question is, what is the smartest decision I can make from this point forward? Maybe the best answer is you sell the car and just accept the loss. Maybe you find someone who has the skills to finish it that can help you. Maybe you put the project on hold for a while until you can sort things out. Or maybe you change the scope of the restoration. Or maybe you decide that finishing it is still worth it, even though the financial math makes absolutely no sense. There's no shame in any of those decisions. The only bad decision is continuing blindly because you're afraid to admit that circumstances have changed. So, when should you walk away? Well, after everything I've learned from restoring my GTO, I think it comes down to three things. One, the money has to make sense for you. You need to understand what you're really buying and what the restoration could realistically cost. Two, you have to love the car, really love the car, because when the project gets hard, and it will, you need something more than a spreadsheet to keep you going. And three, you have to be capable of finishing it, or at least capable of honestly understanding what you'll need to outsource and what that's going to cost. It's important to remember that the right classic car project isn't necessarily the cheapest car. It isn't necessarily the rarest car, and it isn't necessarily the car with the most potential. It's the car that makes most sense for you. And if the numbers don't work, if you don't really love the car, or if the project is simply way beyond what you're realistically capable of taking on, walk away. Before you buy that next classic car, ask yourself three questions. Can I afford it? Do I love it? And can I actually finish it? If you can't answer yes, maybe it's time to walk away. I'd love to know your thoughts. Please leave me a comment in the comment section. And if you haven't already, please give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.